Welcome back, everyone, to Blow Up, the Creator Podcast. It's a show with and for social media creators.
A podcast about elevating your platform, growing your income, and designing a life that you actually love.
We're your hosts,
Anna Bain.
And I'm Jordan Hovater.
So let's just get right to it and introduce our guest for the day. You all may know her as one of the most popular golf influencers on Instagram.
She's had quite the rise, or you might know her as the winner of Holey Moley Season 2, Episode 4. Yeah.
That's right. It's Mei Brennen. And in this episode, we're going to chat with her about the importance of picking a niche as an influencer, what it takes to make that leap from Instagram side hustler to full-time content creator, as well as her experience on ABC's hit series, Holey Moley, and so much more.
What's the verdict on niche? I think in this episode, I actually said niche and niche.
So
is it one of those like data things?
I'm not really sure, but I've always said niche. But then the other day, someone told me I was wrong.
I guess I'm just indecisive, so I want to apologize for my inconsistency. But nevertheless, Mei is awesome. I feel like we would be really good friends in real life if we lived closer and actually got to hang out. So maybe we can make some of these dreams of doing some golf creator trips a reality and get to spend more time with her in person. Mm-hmm. But in the meantime, hope you enjoy our conversation with Mei Brennen.
Hey, Mei, welcome to the podcast. Thanks so much for coming on.
No, thank you guys for having me. I'm super excited.
Awesome. Well, how have you been and where are you joining us from? What's been up?
I am in Salt Lake City, Utah. That's where I live right now. But I just got back from a trip from Hawaii.
Ooh, where in Hawaii?
Yeah. Oahu, but I'm really glad to be home and, get back into my routine again.
From paradise to the mountains. Are you a skier? Because I am a huge skier, and I've been wanting to go to like the Park City, Deer Valley area for a long time now.
Yes, if you are a skier, you need to come to Park City and get that experience. But I hibernate in the winter. Like,
I hate
same. Winter sports. I hate the cold. I hate the snow. Everything about it.
Girlfriend,
I don't know why
I feel the same way when it hits winter. Even where we live, I am like a marshmallow. I have so many layers on. It's ridiculous.
Which is Alabama for the record.
Oh yeah, which is Alabama. And so it's pretty warm here all the time. But it gets to 30 and I hibernate immediately.
So you don't want to join me for a round of snow golf sometime?
Snow golf, that would probably be the only reason I would actually go out.
Hey, there you go.
So Mei, catch us and our listeners up on who you are and your backstory up to this point, like the Cliff Notes version of Mei's life.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Japan, military brat. But I moved to America when I was 8 years old. I've been golfing since about 8 years old as well. Moved around a lot in America, and then settled kind of here in Utah. I actually quit golfing for a long time just because, golfing wasn't cool. Like, I didn't see that many females playing golf. But I kind of got back into it in high school. Started playing pretty good, ended up getting a scholarship to go play for a college, played there. Let's see, I graduated in digital design, marketing, and communication. And then I moved back to Salt Lake City and worked for Pinterest for a little bit. And now I'm just influencer, content creator.
That's so awesome. Okay, so way back in college, obviously you were a student athlete. So what was that like?
It was hectic. I loved being involved. So I wasn't just I was a student athlete. I was like a resident assistant.
Oh,
also,
wow.
I was involved in student government. I did a little bit of everything. And
busy girl.
It was super crazy. Yeah, it was super crazy. But, I gained a lot of friendships. And I think the experiences you get in college are more important than actual classes. So I just took full advantage of everything.
So what time period in your upbringing did you actually quit golf? When were you not playing?
Probably from 10 to all the way until like 16 years old.
And then you still managed to get back in the groove and get a scholarship. That is so impressive.
That is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just fell in love with it. Really, I kind of got the golf bug, is what they say, but just got obsessed with it and just worked really hard. But yeah.
So I don't know if you know the answer to this because you didn't start playing, it sounds like, until you got to the U.S., but this is your two worlds. So I watch a lot of golf YouTube content, and I'm sure you know who Eric Anders Lang is, the Random Golf Club. And I saw in one of his videos one time that apparently in Japan, when you make a hole-in-one, you have to throw this obligatory massive party and invite all your friends. So in Japan, apparently they sell hole-in-one insurance so that in the event that you actually hit a hole-in-one, you can pay for this massive party that you're supposed to throw. Have you ever heard
hilarious.
of this? I can't confirm. Can you confirm whether that's true or not?
I've never heard of that. That's crazy. I've golfed in Japan a few times. But yeah, I've never heard of that. That's cool.
Insane.
Or that's
I've
scary.
Never heard that.
Like, I don't know. That's
May have to get the fact checkers on that one, but yeah, wild if true.
We'll get our fact checkers on that and I'll update you.
Okay, May, so you graduated from Dixie State, correct, out there in Utah, which is where you played golf. Mm-hmm. And then where did you work right out of school? What was your first job?
I worked for Pinterest and I did advertising for them.
That's so awesome. So then what made you decide to go into advertising?
I've always just loved it from since I was little, high school, there was an advertising class that I took. Just that marketing world, I just love. It's just so fun to me and really interesting.
We're the marketing team here.
Yeah, so we love it too.
We can relate and we agree.
We definitely agree. It's the best.
That's an impressive company to work for, especially right out of school. What was your experience like there, both starting out and then maybe as your role progressed?
I really loved it, the culture that they had in the office. Unfortunately, with COVID, we all worked from home pretty soon after I started working with them. And that changed it a little bit just because, working from home, it's nice because you're in your pajamas, you can hang out with your dog all day. But I did start missing my coworkers and just that fun environment that they had.
What was your day-to-day like? What were you doing in your role at Pinterest in advertising and marketing?
It was mostly just emails, talking with different clients and setting up their advertising campaigns. I talked to them, brainstorm ideas, think of creatives, actual pins, and help with that. Think about different audiences. I don't know, looking up trends as well.
So kind of like an account management role, sort of, but then obviously you knew a lot of the ins and outs of how advertising on Pinterest works.
Yeah, exactly.
So were you a Pinterest influencer long before you were ever an Instagram influencer?
No, do not look at my Pinterest. Do not look at my Pinterest board.
Okay, don't look at mine either.
Link in the description below. I'm just kidding.
Everyone go check out May's Pinterest.
You probably needed a break.
No, I gotta
so you weren't doing that in your free time.
The board.
That's actually so funny.
But needless to say, you've been in the marketing and specifically content world for a long time. So at what point, while you're working at Pinterest, did you kind of connect those dots between your passion for golf and your experience in content marketing? When did you actually start trying to, I guess,
make the jump,
regularly put content out on I'm assuming just Instagram at the time? What was that like?
It really started off as a hobby. I really loved Instagram. The fact that you just put the best of your best on the social media. I just had so much fun. I was going out and doing content days
before
it was even really a thing.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. It was just a hobby. I just really liked it. I told people I'm in my bios that when people would get to know me, I would say I'm obsessed with Instagram.
That's so crazy.
Was your content golf specific from the start, or was it just kind of, this is my life, I enjoy posting, so I'm gonna start posting a lot?
It was a little bit of both. Actually, in college, we took like a group selfie with my teammates, and it got reshared on a few like different golf specific pages. And my following grew just a little bit, maybe like 20 followers. But at the time, I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. So then I was like, okay, what else can I post to get featured on again on these pages? So I started posting a little bit more golf, but I still did like a mix of lifestyle as well. And then not that long ago, maybe about a year ago, that's when I focused like mostly just golf and went full in on that niche.
That's so awesome too, just because you really from the beginning have had such a marketing mindset and a marketing strategy behind that, and really on your whole page and on your whole following. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, even before you were a influencer, so to speak, you're asking the questions, what can I do to get shared on those profiles again? Or like, okay, what content is actually well received by the audience?
But I mean, it makes sense if that was your major. So you really went to school for it, technically.
So talk to me about when the initial growth of your platform started happening. So was that college or was that shortly after? And what do you think contributed to your audience starting to get some traction?
It really grew when I did narrow down my niche a little bit more, just focusing a lot more on golf. I don't know, really. It was just consistency, really, and just trying to being creative as well. At the time, like there really weren't that many female golfers that were posting a lot on Instagram. Now there is, they're just popping up everywhere, and I absolutely love that, just because it's growing the game and everything. But at the time, there really was probably like maybe about 5 or 10 girls that were doing it. And then, Holey Moley kind of helped me up a lot.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to get back to Holey Moley because that's a huge piece of your story.
We definitely want to hear about it.
It's really fun to talk about. I want to go back to something you just said, though, when you were saying that actually finding that niche, focusing more on the golf content along with the consistency is what allowed your audience to start growing a little bit. I think a lot of people assume that finding a niche and only posting content about a specific category, so to speak, is actually going to limit what their growth potential is. But in reality, do you think that finding a niche is the key success for most creators in blowing up and growing their audiences?
Yeah, I really do think so. I've heard, people don't want to, be too narrow because they might miss out on different opportunities. But I haven't had that. And it's all been great. I think like a lot of brands that I work with, or people are afraid that the brands that they work with aren't going to want to work with them if they're too narrowed down on a niche. But you just got to modify like your videos to make it fit your niche, and it's been great.
And Mei, obviously the quality of content that you produce is phenomenal, because I don't think anyone's truly going to grow without some luck.
Absolutely.
If their content's not. But do you think that the fact that you are a woman in golf is also a big contributor to your success?
Yes, 100%. I don't know. Yes, I think very much so, just because there really isn't that many, and it's, most of my demographic is male, and male golfers, I don't see that many females, playing out on their local courses. So seeing that online, like, people just love it.
Have you seen that growing in recent years, though, especially as there are more creators like yourself kind of spreading the golf news, so to speak?
I've noticed it in the last few months, just more females on Instagram, but also I've seen a lot more females out on the golf course as well. And it's pretty cool. Like I feel like was part of the change almost in growing the game, and it's very rewarding.
That's purposeful too, which puts a whole new meaning behind what you do online. I love when I play, when my wife comes along and at least just rides in the cart. If she starts actually playing one day, that'd be really cool too. But it's just a fun place to hang out. It's a lifelong game. It's hard and it can be expensive. But if you have the means and hopefully the patience
exactly.
I mean, to go through some hard rounds for some years, it really is so rewarding. And
I really do want Mei to teach me to play golf because I am not very good at it right now, but I would love to learn. Like, I think it'd be so fun. And especially, I mean, as I've been following you too, it really is inspiring me. I do want to learn to play for real. So we have to get together soon and you have to come teach me to play golf.
Yes, definitely.
I love it.
I think I have a lot of followers that ask me about my outfits as well, where they're like, where did you get that skirt? Like, this will help my wife want to play golf, like
I love that.
looking cute and everything. So I don't know.
Golf is the ultimate hot girl walk, is it not?
It's so true.
That trend that's coming around right now, it's like, yeah, you can do for 4 hours.
Exactly. And play golf at the same time. I love it. That's so awesome. So obviously, speaking of golf though, I do want to circle back a little bit and I am dying to hear about your experience on Holey Moley. So do you want to like tell the listeners a little bit about that, and obviously us too?
Yeah, first of all, what the heck is that?
What's the show?
And how did you get on it?
Holey Moley is an extreme mini golf competition, like produced by Steph Curry. It's on ABC. I think they're on like their season 4 right now, or they just ended season 4. I was on season 2. It's on Hulu, so you guys can watch it.
Yes.
Season 2, episode 4 is the one I'm on. But the show, like, it's filmed in the same place as Wipeout, and you're really just doing crazy obstacles and throwing in mini golf in there. They actually asked me to be on the show for season 1, and I told them no.
Oh,
I was
really?
like, I don't know if this is a real thing.
You were just skeptical?
It might be a
That's
little
why you
sketchy.
said no?
Yeah.
Did you know Steph Curry was
and then
producing
season
it
2
at that
came
point?
around. No, they didn't throw that in there.
They should have definitely led with that. I would have been a little skeptical too.
Yeah, that should have been that's a good pitch, really. But yeah, season 2 came around and they luckily asked me again. So I said yes, went through the whole like interview audition process. And I ended up, spoiler alert, but I ended up winning my episode.
Hey, there you go.
With an incredible hole-in-one putt, I might add.
Yeah, everyone needs to watch it. I think I've watched it like 10 times because I was so impressed.
Walk me through your mindset as you're lining up to hit that, as you actually hit it. Because, I mean, these shows can be staged at some points, right?
Yeah.
But there's no faking a shot like that.
No, you cannot fake a hole-in-one.
Yeah, so every episode, everybody plays, or I played all 3 holes just because, like, I kept winning. So, I move on to the next hole kind of thing. Where, and before they start filming, you have 2 practices that you can hit. So for my first 2 holes, I did, like, practice shots. But for that hole where I got that hole-in-one, that we didn't get to practice. So that really was like the first time I hit it.
Wow.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, I couldn't see it go in the hole. Like, it was just on the other side.
So you didn't get to watch
I
it?
didn't react. I just hit it. No, I heard like people screaming and clapping for me. And I was like, oh, like it must have been a good shot, and then they had to yell on the intercom, like, please be excited, like you just got a hole-in-one. And I was like, oh.
That's actually so funny.
Yay. Like, I don't know.
Have you hit a hole-in-one in a real round of actual golf before?
No, I have not.
Well, that putt is
That is
arguably
why I'm
more
so
impressive, so I'll give you that, but I'm sure you will get your first in-round hole-in-one before long. I'm confident.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it,
Yeah.
though.
Oh, that's so great. So then we also on the show, Rob Riggle and Joe, I don't know how to pronounce his
Tessitore, right?
Tessitore. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but they serve as the on-camera like commentators.
Hilarious.
They're so funny. I love them. Did you get to like meet them? Did you get to talk to them? Did they make any jokes? You know, all that kind of stuff.
There was one hole where I could see them because they're like on the little podium balcony thing. So I blew them a kiss, but that's about it. Like I knew they were just roasting me up there. But yeah,
so
we
funny.
really couldn't interact really.
Rob Riggle's one of my favorite like television show personalities. He's the same He's the same type of character. In every show, but
he's
it
hilarious.
Never fails to make me laugh. Okay, so you won this episode, this competition of Holey Moley. What happens when you win? Like, walk me through that.
So I got a green jacket and a golden putter, and then I moved on to the final episode, the finale, and that's where I lost. I fell into the water. I got smacked in the face by like a porta potty door.
Oh my!
Yeah,
this really
pretty
is
crazy. And then
that sounds so painful.
yeah, and it was filmed in March up in like LA area in the canyons. Super cold. It was filmed at like 4 a.m.
Why?
It was freezing and you're just shivering. They had me wear like, a short skirt and like no layers really. And I'm just shivering, like putting. And I forgot to putt. Like I forgot how to putt and I lost.
I would too under those conditions. I have to have perfect conditions to even have a chance
Exactly.
of putting well.
Even in perfect conditions, I can't putt well. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so coming into Holey Moley, about how big was your following online?
I had about 20,000 followers at the time. And during the interview process, like I told them that information and they loved it. And they're like, okay, we're going to brand you as an influencer on the show. So I went full in and, like there were other contestants that had a bigger following than me. But they just played different characters. And with the show, influencer of mini golf, I grew about 15,000 followers in just a few hours after it aired.
Wow.
And then I grew about that same amount the next day because it aired on Hulu. And it was insane though. Like my phone was just blowing up. Like at the time, like I just wasn't used to that kind of thing. And yeah, it was crazy.
That's a perfect boost too, because you're on a show about golf. Sure, it's more of an entertaining show rather than maybe like a golf fanatic show, but it lines up. So I would assume a lot of the people following you would be remotely interested in the content you're actually creating, as opposed to you being on some other generic show and getting a large group of followers who may or may not actually be relevant to the content that you're producing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so at this point, you're still working for Pinterest, yes, full time when you do the show and then come off the show?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yep.
I know as we're speaking to you at this very moment, you are a full-time content creator. So from the time you hopped off Holey Moley, your audience is, 35, 40,000 at this point. So when is that, and how did you start to make the transition to be a full-time creator?
Yeah, so when Holey Moley aired about 2 years ago for me, and I was still working at Pinterest, and about a year later, that's when more opportunities started happening. My growth, in following got bigger as well, and where I really couldn't work a full-time job anymore, where I was almost turning down opportunities because of my job. And so I transitioned to a part-time position where I was working 27 hours, doing the same thing pretty much, But this time I wasn't just focusing on Pinterest advertising. I was focusing on Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of that. And then I loved it. I learned so much from that as well. And then about 5 months ago, that's when I transitioned to full time. And it was a big jump. Like I was super scared and, but I did it and I don't have any regrets.
That's so awesome. I love that. It's so cool the way that you were able to really continue and gain and grow. And obviously you made that transition in a very interesting way as you went obviously full-time and then you went to part-time and then you're like, you know what, this is insane. Like, why am I not just doing this full-time? Just because you were capable of it and you were able, and you also have such a great background and you've been so smart about it. So with that being said, obviously, since you just made this quite recently, for the people who are into content creation, what advice would you give them if they're kind of on the edge and they're teetering between, should I do this full time? Should I not do it full time? What is kind of your go-to advice for those people?
For me, I made a pros and cons list, of
I love that.
either working part-time and still doing, and just going through all of it. I wanted to make sure that I was doing the right thing and the safe thing too, with money wise as well.
Of course.
About 2 months after I had kind of made that decision, still thinking about it, I saved a lot of money while I was working, just to make sure, just so I had that extra cushion.
Of course.
And if I could do it again, I'd probably do it a little bit longer rather than the 2 months. So that would be my advice. But really, the thought was, I'm not sure how long influencing will last. It might be forever, this might be a forever thing. Or, what if it goes away, in about 5 years? And I was like, I have this platform, I have this thing, I want to do something with it. And I don't want to half-ass it the whole time.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to full-ass it and see what I can do with it. And I don't know. I would say just do it. I would write a pros and cons list and figure that out. Make sure financially you're able to do it in the beginning. And I was really nervous. And after I put in my 2 weeks, about 3 days later, a brand reached out to me and offered me a 1-year contract. And it was
oh, wow,
more than my actual salary that I was making.
If that's not confirmation,
and I ended up not,
for real.
Yeah, exactly. But I ended up not signing with them for different reasons. Just it just didn't fit.
Yeah.
My brand. But that really did give me that confidence. I can do this. I'm okay.
Yeah,
I have so many
and I've been able to
Me
go
too.
to more opportunities and events.
Yeah, I have so many questions after everything you just said. That was phenomenal. First of all, cheers to full assing.
I love that.
May we all full ass.
In everything we do.
Yes. So when you made your pros cons list, how long after that did you actually make the decision? Was it that day you made the list, you're like, all right, I'm doing this? If not, what was the final straw that made you finally commit to go all in?
It took about a week to kind of I'm pretty fast at deciding, I guess. But it was actually the support of my parents as well. They never really understood influencing for a long time. They just didn't understand it. But they saw all the opportunities I was getting and just their support. They're like, you should do it. That's kind of when I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to quit.
That's incredible that your parents were so emotionally supportive of you, considering they, like you said, they had no idea what this world of content creation and influencing even means. So I'm sure that felt a lot like an emotional safety net, similar to the financial safety net that you had worked so hard to build. And so when I look at the creators like yourself that are successful and that are more self-made, so to speak, I've noticed a trend. It's like a lot of them, something unlocks in their brain to where they start viewing themselves and what they're doing actually as a business rather than just a hobby, or this is something I just do for fun. And I noticed that in what you were saying there, right? You built a safety net financially so that, you had time and runway if enough deals weren't coming in. You also, I'm sure, did some thorough budgeting to know, all right, this is what I need. This is my goal. Here is how much I need to make. So what would you say to creators who, again, are on the verge thinking about going full time, or maybe they're further back, but have that as a goal in the future? What do they need to start thinking about, learning, or doing from a financial perspective to prepare them for the jump?
Yeah. Again, like, I don't know if I'm doing this the right way, right? We're just all winging it. But I created like a budget where all my needs, my necessities, like my mortgage and like just the musts, the minimum that I had to make kind of thing. And for me, like I want to be prepared, right? And I'm a planner and that kind of thing. So for me, like I had about like a 10-month safety net, where I was like, okay, like this, I'm good, and yeah, I don't know.
No, that's
I would
great.
say it's risky, but I think like a risk and reward kind of situation, like what I said about that brand that reached out to me just a few days after I had quit. You just got to put it out into the universe and you really just have to keep going. It really did give me more time as well to focus on my brand, to create more content. And since I've quit, I've doubled my following.
Wow.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just been a huge jump. And I really do think it's because like I have more time to spend on it, and Instagram's like my baby. Like I take care of it.
It certainly is a risk, but I think the key here is that it needs to be a calculated risk. And that calculated factor comes with what you were saying. Okay, what do I absolutely need? How much am I making now compared to what I need? What is the potential? Okay, then also if I am doing this full time, how much does the extra time I'm putting into it factor into what I could make? All great questions to be asking. And just out of curiosity, when you did go full time, were you like just hitting the minimum of what you said you needed, or were you fairly, far beyond that? It's different for everyone, but I'm curious.
For me, like, yeah, I don't know if I got lucky. I don't know, but I haven't been stressed out at all. All my worries that I had are gone, not gone, but like I haven't had to worry about it. And it's just gone up, my brand deals, started coming in a lot more and a lot more consistently as well. And just doing the math, it was definitely worth it for me.
So then speaking of brands, you were talking about earlier, and you've mentioned it a couple of times, that you have turned down some brands and you've turned down some deals. So walk us through a little bit what your criteria is like when you're deciding, okay, yes, I want to work with this brand, or no, I don't want to work with this brand. And what's kind of, obviously you said you do pro con lists. So do you also do that when choosing who you want to work with?
Kind of a pros cons list. It's a lot shorter of a process. Where my favorite brands, it's when, I get an offer and I immediately have creative ideas. I'm like, this is what I want to do. And that's when like it's a good brand. Yeah. And there's some brands where you have to kind of think about it, but I've said no to a few where just the contract just wasn't working. There were two very exclusive. Okay. Would be one. One would be where it just didn't fit my audience. I think that's a huge one. Or it just didn't fit my feed, I guess. Or what else? I think for me, the exclusivity is probably the biggest thing, where they don't want me, I'm tied down to a company for many years, some of them. And that's where I kind of say, maybe not.
Yeah, because then it's not giving you as much freedom as you were talking about earlier. This is your business. This is Instagram's your baby, and you want to make sure that you have that, not only the financial freedom, but your creative freedom is so important as well. Given that you have such a great marketing background, and not losing your creativity, even though this is a business, I think is really, really great to hear that you're keeping that in mind as well.
What's interesting is out of all those reasons that you turned down offers, all of those seem to be more contractual turnoffs. None of it was money related. Mm-hmm. Do you find that most brands are willing to pay what you want to charge or what you think you're worth, or is there a lot of negotiation when it comes to pricing?
I think it's been pretty good. I would say like there's a few brands where if I'm like, I really want to work with them, the price may be lower, and I'm like, but this will be beneficial for me.
Yeah.
And I'll work with them kind of thing. I'm really bad at negotiating, first of all. I don't know.
It's okay. Sometimes negotiation can be hard. I understand that. I'm not really great at it either. So
also, that's great if you're charging what you want and most people are giving it to you. I mean,
absolutely.
negotiation is a huge time killer. And if they're trying to really undercut you, then odds are they don't see your value in the first place. So then maybe that's also not a good fit.
Yeah. So, and also going into kind of more on like the skills that you have had to learn. Obviously, negotiation is a skill, and learning the creative marketing strategy behind your brand and behind your niche. But what also are the skills that you've kind of had to learn in order to make social media work as your income, considering that you used to have obviously a full-time job and now your money is coming from content creation? So what are those other skills, like obviously the ones included that you mentioned before?
I would say time management, it has been huge for me. Right now, like I make my own schedule.
Yeah.
And I have to make sure that I'm kind of sticking with it, or else I'm just going to be sitting around watching Netflix all day. So creating like a plan has helped me. A really big skill that I've learned that I think has really helped me is like relationship building, and networking really, like, and creating more opportunities through that during going to different events and networking there, but also with my following. I feel like a lot of my followers, they're really my friends. A lot of them send me funny memes, and they know that I love dogs. So they'll send me cute dog videos, and creating that relationship, I think has helped me a lot.
So you do strike me as a disciplined person, considering your answer was time management.
Yeah.
And you mentioned before you're a planner, you like to make lists. So how do you structure a typical week? Let's say you're actually home in Utah, like you have content create, you have meetings and calls, whatever. What does a typical week look like for you? And is that normal?
I plan out my whole week, like just a week in advance, like Monday, that's when I like sit down and write all the things I need to get done, and all the days that I want to do. And then I like have about 2 days where I'm doing content specific things. And some people like plan it out a lot longer, but with reels and trends, things are changing so often that I don't plan it out that far in advance. But I don't know, just sending emails, scrolling on Instagram, I think is a big thing. So for leisure, I don't scroll on Instagram. Like when I'm looking through reels, like it's all work. So when I do want to for leisure, like relaxing time, I go on Facebook. Like not many people use Facebook, but that's what I use for where I'm not thinking about my stuff.
I think that's so wise. Yeah, you're creating emotional boundaries for yourself, for your own mental health. I mean, I am not a creator full time, and I'm even fighting those kind of like quick urges to just mindlessly scroll on Instagram as it is. And I just noticed such a big difference in my life when in my free time, in my restful time, I'm not doing that. And so I respect that you are able to set those boundaries and you recognize that about yourself.
Yeah, a lot of learning as well, like trial and error.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So May, as we begin to wrap up the show here, is there anything else that you would want to say to a creator who is in your shoes, 5-6 months ago? They are getting some brand deals. Their audience has grown. They still have a full-time job, but they're thinking to themselves, I really want to do this full-time and I think I could do it, but I'm scared. What would you say to that person?
I would say, I don't know, like be consistent. I think a lot of people, fall away, they'll try for a few months and they just don't see the growth and they'll just quit. You really just got to keep pushing, keep grinding. I would say really stay true to like yourself and your niche and understand your brand well. And so for me, like I grew a lot more once I stopped comparing myself and stopped, trying to be somebody else, and just posting things that I wanted to, still golf related, but where I wasn't as critical of myself. So that's, I don't know, like I just say, just be yourself and keep going. Consistency.
That's such wise advice, really, just because obviously comparison is one of the hardest things sometimes, especially on social media. And so I think that advice is going to be really great for some people who are trying to be in your shoes, and they were you 5 months ago.
Yeah. And that's a reminder we need pretty
for
much
everybody.
daily too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, even for people who aren't content creators, comparison is a very difficult thing. But also, we have a little surprise for you at the very end of our podcast. We like to do something called rapid fire questions, where we are going to ask you a bunch of just super random questions. They're super easy. Some of them are just like really short, 1 or 2 word answers. But Jordan is going to be giving you your rapid fire questions. And so, Jordan, if you want to do any more explanation, go for it.
Just to get to know May a little bit better as we find our way out here. So you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. This is the first one is something we actually ask all of our guests, and then the rest are different and probably unique to you. So first question is, what did you actually want to be when you were growing up?
A flight attendant.
Really?
No way.
Yeah.
So our first guest ever on this show was actually Peter Weber. I don't know if you knew that, but he is a pilot. And from the very start, from a young age, because his dad's a pilot, he's wanted to be a pilot, specifically a pilot that flew to Mars.
Yes. Very specific.
So we got some overlap here in our guests. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought flight attendants were the coolest people, the coolest things. Like it was just, every time I traveled, I was like, wow, I want to be like them when I grow up.
Aww.
That's great. I never would have guessed
so
that.
Sweet.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think they are cool. All right, here we go. You ready? Are you a coffee or a tea person?
Coffee.
Good answer. Night in or night out?
Ooh, I'm a mix, both. I'm like, I love going out, but I also need like days in where I'm like a couch potato.
Same girl. Same here. I think I know the answer to this, but who would you want to be stuck with on an island?
My dog.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
I knew she was going to say that too.
She's like, oh,
your dog is
you
so
people
cute.
are too much for me. I'll take my dog. If you could only eat one meal the rest of your life, what would that be?
Cereal.
Really?
What kind specifically?
I love my Fruit Loops. I'm a Fruit Loops kind of girl.
That's classic. I
Very
can see
classic.
you sitting
Yeah.
on an island with a dog eating Fruit Loops, just as happy as you can be the rest of your life.
Yes, that would be the dream.
Okay, you don't have to limit this one to one, but what's your favorite brand deal that you've done so far?
Manscaped.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, very cool.
I like shaved a golf like grass around a golf ball.
Oh
with
wait,
the
that's actually
shaver.
really cool. Was that your
Wow.
idea that you came up with?
Yeah.
That's
what
so
I did.
creative.
I came up with the idea really quick. Yeah.
So
That
quick
was my
side
favorite.
note, but we've actually been making a lot of comments here in the office about how Manscaped is so smart in their creator marketing efforts, because they're realizing that most of, girls' audiences, like yours are actually predominantly male. And so rather than advertising through men, they're advertising through women, which is like not a lot of brands get that, and they're killing it because of it. So
I agree.
That's a fun answer, and even a more genius idea for what you did content wise. Love it.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you.
So kind of related, what's your dream brand to collaborate with that you haven't worked with yet?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know.
It's okay.
I want to work with like golf courses.
Oh,
yes. Yeah.
Like specific. Yeah.
Okay. Let's speak that. It's going to happen.
We're going to speak it into existence. Ooh, Topgolf.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I could see that happening in the very near future for you.
So if they're listening,
yeah.
If they're listening right now, go give her a call.
Right. Hit her up.
Hit her up.
Who's your favorite golfer?
Paige Spiranac.
Okay. Yes,
Ooh,
I actually do know who that is. And last question from Rapid Fire. Thoughts on the Live Tour versus PGA?
I know that's like the hot topic right now.
It's the hot goss.
I'm for it. I think, I'm all about growing the game. I think it's great. I think there's going to be new people that are going to actually watch golf now, and how they're spicing it up. But now I'm just waiting for the women's Live Tour.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
No, I think it's great too. And it's helping players too, because obviously Live is paying out the wazoo, but then in response, PGA's have to pay its players more. So I think golfers are finally getting the value that they're creating, which is great.
Absolutely. The golf economy.
I think this controversy too is like creating a lot more publicity and just, more people understanding golf. Yeah.
Well, Mei, we really could keep talking to you all day long, and we cannot wait to go A, see you on the Live Tour, and B, hopefully you can come to Birmingham soon, teach me how to play golf, and then you and Jordan can
we actually have
play
a lot
golf.
of great courses here. So
really great
we'd
courses.
love to show you around, yeah.
So yeah, anytime that you want to come down, just let us know. But we really appreciate you coming on to the podcast. It's been such a joy to get to know you and hear your story, and I know that a lot of creators are really going to take some awesome words of wisdom from you, and we just cannot wait to see you continue to grow and soar in your content creation.
So, thank you guys so much for having me and giving me this opportunity to talk about me.
We wish you all the best until we see you on one of our next trips, which is hopefully a golf trip that we can plan together. We'll see.
I think it'd be great. Yeah. Let's teach me to play golf first, though.
It's easy. Just watch my Instagram.
Wonderful. Perfect.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mei, so much. Have a great rest of your day.